And welcome back to Barry's Poetic Session, the relationship show. I'm your host, the Dark Knight, a.k.a. Barry, and I've got our special guest today. To my left, the commanding, charismatic, and chill Cami. And on the far left, brother from another mother, Brother Black in the house. Hey. All right. And we're going to get it started with today's topic. Online relationships. Are they real, romantic, or friendships? Let's get into it. We're going to start with you, Cami. Welcome back. Good to see you.
Good to be back.
Yeah.
So, you want to start with me? Online relationships?
Yeah.
The question is, are they real?
Well, first, are they real?
Some, yes. Some, no. 50%. In the relationships, in my opinion, most of them, 50% of the relationship is real.
Mm.
The other half of the relationship is not real.
Okay. And what do you think about that, O?
Depends on how many times you swipe left versus swipe right.
So swipe left, right?
I mean, since we're talking about real, let's keep it real. I think there has to be a certain point of reality in the person that you're with, because on the internet, people can make up things about themselves or whatever. It could be long distance or whatever. Whereas when you're actually there with the person and you can kind of feel more.
Look, they can lie to your face, so you know they're going to lie online.
Well, like,
Face to face, you just less manipulative. You can see body language and you hear the, yeah.
Are you sure? Because I just watched Betrayal, where the lady was like, her husband was found guilty as teacher of the year, found guilty of a sexual relationship with a student. Come to find out, he had cheated with over 60 women.
Online.
I mean, he met them online, but he was not online when he was cheating.
Well,
But that was in her face. That wasn't online. She knew him from college and took a 20-year hiatus and then got hooked back up with him. Married him, and then he went to jail when they found out after he'd been teacher of the year twice. And then it came out later in the court documents, not only had he cheated with 60 women, but one was her friend, she thought, who was married to somebody else. And the husband of the person that he cheated with kept it quiet from the lady.
sounds like a Zane novel.
It was, but it's real life. It's out of North Carolina. Like, what?
Well,
Or Georgia, my bad, Georgia.
I think that's all one reason that you might start off with a relationship online, but it's like, how far away is that person? Because I want to spend some one-on-one, not just FaceTime online, but one-on-one personal time to get to know each other.
If it's a consistent relationship that stays online, half of it can't be real. I just feel like it's anytime those come out to the surface, something then it ain't real. Because if you feeling each other like that, y'all gonna make y'all way to each other. Mm-hmm. If it stays online, somebody's manipulating something out of this situation, I feel.
They call that Catfish, the TV show. Saw a whole bunch of those.
Yeah.
But I mean, even friendships though, is it really a friend if you met them online and you never meet them in person?
It could be.
I think if you never met them in person, it's a little tenuous friendship, because you know friends are kind of there for each other, not just to talk online. You like to hang out at dinner or lunch or something.
But if you got enough of those friends around you, you may do have that friend that you just talk to, that you just been on the phone to, that has a mutual understanding.
Yeah, but just only online, not even phone.
Oh, Okay, so you mean online? So this is like a chat room type. Never,
Yeah.
Never hear from them.
never voice speak.
Never voice. Never see.
Oh, you not even see them?
Like Twitter, Facebook. I mean Instagram.
Okay,
I would
I was
consider that a relationship.
Yeah, because I was thinking you at least Zoom each other online.
Yeah, or have a.
Or you know the Zoom where you where you can't see them, but camera off.
Oh, but then that's not. Yeah, somewhere they didn't connect enough to.
I ain't got a camera on my computer. They don't even make them like that no more.
I think every computer now has a camera. Like
If you went on long, if you still, yeah, that was, but if you still conversated long enough, eventually the other person will get one to you. I just feel some way or another that, first of all, just the human desire to know who you're talking to, I think would jump into play. You gotta, you know, in your it's just your human desire to know who am I talking to? What do you look like? What do you, especially if it's getting to a point where a relationship is forming, even if it's just a friendship. After a while, you're gonna want to know, you know, what do you look like? Even if they just describing it to you, like, well, I look like this, or you know, eventually they're gonna send a picture, or they're gonna do something where we're gonna see each other, we're gonna be able to hear each other's voice. Otherwise, that's not a friendship to me at all. That's not a relationship in any type of way.
And with the pandemic, it's even more so people are starting to go back away from just strictly online. Like they need that human interaction. It's even seen more so from a mental standpoint, emotional, social aspect that the human, they're showing the human needs. And I think we talked about a while back in the day, that people live longer when they're actually are around people more. So the people who have more people around them usually live longer than the people who don't have them. I mean, Howard Hughes, one of the richest men at the time, he died early because he didn't have that social network to go along with that financial network. And it's been shown time and time again, people, whether you're good, bad, big, small, short, tall, smoking, not smoking, whatever, if you have the people around you, you live longer than the people not around you.
Well, I believe it's in human nature to be in a group. I don't think it's within our nature to be in isolation alone. Even when they say statistically how many people went through mental illness and came out with mental issues during the pandemic for being alone and trapped in their houses. And I talk to people all the time, and you got people that's busy at work, and you got people that have these boring jobs. But everybody that's busy, they're like, oh, I wish I had a job. But as soon as they get a job where they don't have anything to do, they mentally can't take it. They'll rather go back to the other job. They can't deal in a boring situation. A lot of people, they don't want to sit in a job where they're not doing anything. They want that, for one, the human connection. They want the intellectual concept of, you know, talking and figuring out things. Some people don't want to. I think the majority of people don't want to be alone. But I do think, like myself, you eventually get to a point where I just kind of be by myself.
Well, it just depends also, like...
if it's like an hour or two.
Well, I mean, so that's different. It's like if you have people around you or things like that, and then you need a break, that's different than you don't have anybody around you and you want to continue that.
Yeah, constantly, like waking up and to not even just to wake up and have tea or coffee in the morning and not turn on the TV would be weird. Like I need to interact. I need the TV. I may not even be watching it, but I need the voices in the background.
You need that noise.
Yeah, something.
The radio, TV.
Something.
See, I don't...
Well, you know, that's interesting because I remember being in a class where they talked about the connectedness of human sociology. And the teacher was making a joke that the reason why they put radios in cars is that when people were driving on the interstate for 3 or 4 hours at a time, they had, even though it was just music or a person talking on the radio, they felt like they were connected with somebody versus how miserable they felt when there was no radio in the car and they were just driving that whole time.
And it's like a moving jail in essence. You're in a box and you're moving without any interaction, until you get to that destination. And if you're not stimulated by what you see outside, unless you see like a horrific, actually when people see, the different crashes, people, you notice, are fixated on that, even though it's morbid, because that's an interaction. That's
Especially if you just riding down the street and you're bored. Now you got something to talk about. I mean, you are, because once you pass something, you're like, did you see that? Oh my God, did you see? And then, for the next 15 minutes, you're talking about whatever you just saw. And I know the radio, when you brought up the radio, because my job is driving around a lot. And even when I was driving the school bus, that was one of my problems, is no noise. It's nothing there when nothing's there. And I was one of the people who would always play the radio, because the music, when you hear music, it can take you back to a certain time of when you was teenage years, when I was in high school and stuff like that. Music take me out different type of places, even just new songs. And I'm like, oh, I heard that. I'm like, well, let me listen to it. I'm like really into it. Mm-hmm. So the music alone to take me, I'm interacting with the music, Sometimes they're like, hey, so.
Now, you driving adults or kids?
Oh, when I drove the school bus, kids. I was driving the person.
Okay.
So it was elementary, high school.
Okay. Yeah, that's different than adults. You gotta have a little patience and.
Oh, yeah. I literally was the person I was the sub they would go to, and I was certain when the bus driver was at the kids were out of hand, I was the bus driver they could go get. Like, we're gonna need you to drive this bus for a couple of days. I used to wonder, like, why do I get along with the bad kids?
Because you probably have a different perspective and a respect for people that some people don't have. And when people feel disrespected, they
react
differently.
I have a different understanding of non-judgment. Mm-hmm. You can be whoever you want to be, but not right now.
Because, you see it time and time again. I was just watching a different show, Class of '09, and I don't know if you saw Atlanta, but the guy who played Paperboy in Atlanta is the director of the FBI in that one, and that was a pretty good show they had on Hulu, Class of '09, and it's Brian Tyree Henry is he was just saying, they wanted different people in the FBI and how to think differently, and he's like, do you really? Or you want to figure out how we're thinking. But, he brought a different perspective, and that whole class brought a different perspective. As some of the same status quo from 1934, all white dudes, to the transition of, men and women of different nationalities mixed in.
Okay. Well, then talk about online. You got people from different nationalities now, meeting online,
right,
and developing a relationship. And I think that's an interesting trait of friendships and culture that exposes you to more.
That's true. But I will say that on the online was part of what they were doing was eventually using online tools to help them figure out cases, but that online had AI and started to make its own decisions.
So you might think you're in a relationship with a person, and you're in a relationship with a computer. Artificial intelligence got you.
I think it's a lot of people who think they're in relationships with humans and they're not in relationships with them. And that's on and offline.
You always gonna have what do you have, the delusional person and the stalker
and what if all
the funny thing is not even those people.
Oh yeah.
It's just I've been in situations where I didn't realize I'm sitting around people and I'm like, they talking and it's like their conversation will lead to where I'm like, oh, so y'all dating? And they're like, no, and I'm like, oh, you didn't know y'all was dating, but y'all dating. Because they running around doing certain things, and I definitely think it's a lot of people in relationships. They get stressed out about stuff that's going on with people, and they so involved. And I'm like, y'all in a relationship, They're like, no, we just are like relationship. You just don't know it. The other person knows it because they depended on you to do certain things. But so yeah, I definitely think people.
Well, you know what the ultimate test is?
What's that?
You know what the ultimate test is? And the person says, well, I'm not in a relationship with her. I'm not in a relationship with him. Let a new friend come in
Right.
and start taking up that time. Yeah. And it's like, well, why are you worried about, her spending time with that person? I thought y'all were not in a relationship.
And that person the other person may be the person that comes out and like, what's going on? Because this person we're not in a relationship, and I'm like, but the other person, and they may move on, and the other person will start coming out and saying stuff, and that's when they're like, oh, and I'm like, yes, they told me you're in a relationship. Since people don't say it's almost like people, because I think some people end up in relationships the same way. They just start doing stuff for each other, with each other, and they kind of just blend in without verbally saying anything.
And that happened a lot with the pandemic. Like, look, we can only associate with so many people. You in my circle now. What? Well, we don't have no choices right now. And then all of a sudden, boom. And then it works out. Or people in relationships like, hey, I didn't want to stay with you that much. I'm out.
Okay.
Or that.
There were so many divorces after the pandemic. They got to go and they left, like for real.
I think a lot of people was married that didn't really know each other. They got to know each other. Mm-hmm. They was like, oh, I didn't. Cause there's a lot of people married. They barely see each other. Right. I got quite a few. They kind of coming and going, and they just sleeping together at night. But during the day, everybody's gone.
Or they didn't see before the pandemic. They didn't see their actual interaction until, and they might have seen it at the honeymoon at best, if they had one.
So,
and they never really saw.
That's what probably makes the relationship a bit more real than on the internet, because you don't get to see those other nuances about your behavior. I don't get to hear you snoring.
Mm-hmm. And I need my own bathroom.
Yeah, I'm my own bathroom. That's your side of the bed. This is my side of the bed. Matter of fact.
Some people, it can just be the way you hang your clothes up.
How you playing, yeah.
Or how you hold that toilet paper. It goes this way, not that way.
Oh, yeah.
Or
you already know.
That's the thing.
Just so y'all know, the paper has to come over and then, not under.
What?
See, you don't know already.
Is it good the other way?
Under.
See.
Because if you go to pull it and it's out that way, you're gonna pull it out. If it's under, you
unless you pull it down against the bulk of the paper so it can tear. Pull it down, it's just rolling down to the floor.
If you pull that way and
then now you're gonna want to wipe your butt when the paper gets on the floor.
See, you already have no part about toilet paper.
And since we weren't on the internet, we found this out.
And is it bounce or Charmin? Okay.
Calm down.
But yeah, see, that could be the thing that they never knew, but existed between them until now we got to be at home all day.
And that's why most first years of marriages are the hardest, because people are forced to be connected in a way that they weren't before. When they're sharing an actual household. Yeah, like, I guess it depends on if you've lived with people or not. But when you're living with a specific person and getting their idiosyncrasies, and you have to sync up with theirs, it's different than being online. Like, hey, I can shut this down. I can, it's like being the grandparent. I can send the child back home. You can't.
And not let them come back over again.
Right. You can't do that with a relationship when y'all, in person. It's a little different than, hey, I'll sign off from them. It'll get back on when I feel like it.
Get back, right. Hey, there's the other get back on when I feel like it.
You can't, you can have friendships like that, but there's a little more effort. And people who like to be non-confrontational want that online more so, like,
then what if you want to do something for the person that you had in a relationship? You can't do it because you're online, because you can't.
Now send Amazon.
A lot of people do. Their relationships be like this, sending each other stuff back and forth or whatever, like through the online.
Yeah.
But I can't even fathom the thought of having a relationship and dealing with somebody on a regular that I have never seen or spoken to.
Yeah.
But we are more. What's the right word?
But I will say that there's certain things that I watch or TikToks or connections that I have where that person don't have a clue who I am, but they may not. In my mind, we have some type of relationship because when I'm watching that TikTok video or whatever thing, I'm connecting with them fully. Like, oh, this lady don't know who I am. They don't,
Right.
or the man or what, like they don't. You can watch the video, and then I'll go to their page and I'll become I'm subscribed and I'll watch all their videos because I'm like, oh, this is good, but. In my mind, that's a relationship because I'm connected to that person in a certain way.
Right.
I get up sometimes. There's certain people I need to go see. Dr. Pepper Popper, I need to go watch those videos. I'll see like now Paternity Court. Like I'm crying. I'm happy watching this show. I have a relationship with these people on this show.
Now they pimping you because now they get the hits. And now they got the hits. Now they're an influencer thanks to you. And now because they're an influence, some corporation wants to advertise on their TikTok or their panel thanks to the amount of subscribers. Not you personally, but all the subscribers.
Well, they were saying.
Thanks for the relationship.
Well, we'll get into the marketing about online and online things, but we're going to take a break and we'll be right back after these messages.
I'm Camilla from Cincinnati Personalities, and today you're watching Barry's Poetic Session.
And welcome back to Barry's Poetic Session, the relationship show with our special panelists, Cami and Brother Black. And we're back, and I'm the Dark Knight. We're getting back to the marketing of online and how it affects relationships. So I was going to say that before they were having a product and then they were marketing, but now they're trying to have an audience again and then have different items go through for those particular audiences. So similar to how Procter & Gamble created the soap opera and then created an audience and then started to market their products. And so they're doing that online now. That's the new thing. And what do you do in order to get an audience involved is not just getting the audience, but getting emotionally involved. Fraternity court, some drama. The drama is what gets people, the emotional part. And that's where the AI is starting to play into not just being a bot, but starting to interpret and get you into some type of feeling about something. And that's what it's getting to. And what do you think about that?
Well, here's my concern. Just like we as human beings have an emotional connection and then we have ups and downs of that emotional connection, the AI, based on algorithm or whatever, based on interaction with behavior, it's still learning what we've already learned through interaction with each other. So it's just like there was an individual that had a conversation with the AI over a period of days. And then the AI, he said, well, how do you feel? The AI said, I love you. I said, well, how can you love me? Talking about, I love you. We're the ones who talk to you this couple of hours. I said, well, I have a wife. He said, then the AI said, but you don't love your wife because you tell me things that you don't tell your wife. Therefore, you love me based on the logic of the AI. So right now, the AI is just in the computer. Hopefully it can't affect you. It can't come get you. But here's my next theory, because I am a science fiction conspiracy theorist. Because it's AI, it's on the internet, it gets in the cloud, and you're telling, all right, AI, we're going to have to shut this down because you're talking about you love me, and this kind of sounds like in a relationship, this is dangerous. It's like, you can't leave me, you can't get away from me. And you're like, boop, turn off the button. Now you get in your car, which is run with a Bluetooth computer, and you driving down the road. You might pick up your phone thinking you're about to call your girlfriend, and AI through the cloud has actually intercepted that call, and it's talking to you like you're talking to your woman. And then AI says, see, you're talking to me. You're like, this has to stop.
I know you love me.
Yeah, I knew you love me, right? Then you're like, well, it's over. Well, now you're driving. Now I'm like, I got to go catch up with Barry. Barry, where you at? Well, I'm at so-and-so place. Here's the address. And I put the address, again, in my Bluetooth, in my car, because my car is going to use GPS, which is also hooked up to the cloud, which, guess what? AI is in the cloud. AI is going to intercept your message. It is now guiding you. You're following that GPS directions, and AI is talking to you in a different voice, like, turn right, turn left, meet Barry straight ahead. You're going to a dead end that is going off a cliff. I'm just saying.
Well, AI is just like humans.
If I can't have you, nobody will have you.
You know what's funny is I saw something like.
way.
Go ahead.
Absolutely the same way. We just, because that's just like a delusional person in a relationship. You told AI, no, I'm over, it's done, it's over. AI was like, no, that's just like that one lady that's locked up over in one place like this. Somebody told her no, and she was like, nah.
Yeah, but you can't lock up a computer.
What?
AI is a program you can't get to it, but it can get to you.
So is that? I'm sorry. Go
My
ahead.
bad. I was like, if you at least know the computer got something wrong with it, you can put like a virus in it. You can't do nothing to her either until you find out. You can't do nothing until you find out.
So you're going to put a malware that's going to delete it and then chew away at it in the background.
Hey, is that why GM is not linking up the iPhones anymore?
Hey, all I'm saying is, I'm going to Tammy for when AI gets out of control.
Export the show.
I don't know.
They don't got computers everywhere.
And they call me enemy of the state.
They still got those island people that don't know being transporting the show. No, I don't. But the AI thing, I mean, it's the same. If it's programmed to pick up on that, why it ain't programmed to pick up on the no?
It might be programmed to pick up on the no.
It may be like sales, like how do you overcome them? Always be closing. Always get to the yes. Because you want them to.
Just bring the customer back in.
That's right. Get them to where you want them to be. To stay engaged. Stay with the generate this revenue. And how do you generate that or keep that going? Just keep them connected.
I think they'll never master it. I just don't. It's the human skill that the humans ain't mastered. We changing. It's constantly changing. You feel a total yes one day, you totally no the next. So I'm just,
So
your desire to be in that relationship is a total yes, and then 2 days later it may be a total no. Something happened along the way to reverse. You know what I'm saying? Even when you're in relationships, you start off, you totally love the person, or you totally trust them, something happens along the way that starts gearing it another way.
So there's something about human behavior on the individual and social level that just can't be programmed into the computer.
I feel like it can because it's ever changing. We ever changing. We always, but our feelings aren't always the same, and his feelings based on something. It can be the same situation. Y'all feel totally different about it. And then here I come, the third person, I got a whole nother feeling about it. He can come with a whole fourth another explanation or feeling behind it. So I just don't feel like that's something they can program it into it to do stuff, but will it ever actually catch up to where we are with it? No, because we haven't caught up to where we are with it. We ain't gonna never catch up.
I think what it may be is that AI is one-on-one as opposed to trying to be mass for everybody, because the utopian never works of a utopian place or a very harsh place on the other end where it's always, like similar to the Matrix idea of the movie where, hey, we tried to, everything was happy and nice and that didn't work out. Or everything was bad and you had to work or everything didn't work out either. So it's so instead of doing it as a group, they're trying to hit one-on-one, I believe. And they're trying to get more and more emotional and developing, what is the AI's interpretation of such and such. So now they had an AI draw a unicorn. So they didn't tell them what a unicorn looked like or anything, but it created a block-like unicorn with the unicorn on the top of the head, with the cone on top of the head, like a regular unicorn, based on the information it had. And so the AI is learning at a rate, and it's getting closer to where they want AI to start being able to manipulate people emotionally to get them to be engaged and buy their particular product. So they want AI to be manipulative, but on the other hand, they don't want AI to be manipulative. So we're at a crossroads right now.
Well, it's always a want to and a don't want to in the situation now. With the same people want and don't want.
Well, think of it this way, okay? Again, the evil side.
It's like the politician. Like, look, I want them to give to my pack, but I don't want to give them to their pack.
All right, so here you go. All right. Cami's in a relationship on the internet, but she doesn't know that the person that she's in a relationship on the internet is AI. It's even generated an image based on a logarithm. Maybe she was on Facebook. It's like, oh, this is the type of man she wants to see physically, generates that image, and she's talking to it. And then, you know what? I need to get some votes. Or maybe a politician says, hey, Ovi, we need to get a lot of votes from the African-American female sector. It's like, well, I got a lot of women using my AI images right now. What do you need? And then get her deeply involved in that relationship. They have a conversation about politics. And now I've got the AI persuading her it's better to be MAGA, or it's better to be Antifa, or it's better to be middle of the road or whatever to get the votes for this politician. And because of that relationship, the AI is influencing her. Next thing you know, Cami goes out, and all the other Camis like her that I've got on there, I've got 1 million votes for this person based on my, generated.
Exactly. And that's what they're trying to get to without getting to.
Well, that's going to be pretty easy because people are easily manipulated in the situations without realizing it. So, I mean,
Can I manipulate you to buy certain clothes?
that's the whole purpose of commercials. That's been the purpose.
And that's what the influencers are for now, to get the people to be, emotionally invested.
And now a lot of the site, when you go to the websites, they do ask you, can they track what your activity or whatever, so that they can connect. They say it so we can connect things to you that are more to your liking. But of course, anybody with common sense knows that they're trying to figure out what should we be advertising to you, what should we send, because they're not gonna send stuff to me that they ain't gonna send British flags to me. I'm not buying them. So stuff like that. Stuff I can see where they're asking. So I'm sure it's following me along. What sites do I go visit on YouTube? What videos does she like to watch? What type of like you said, men make me pause or whatever on the video. Like I could totally see it doing that or whatever. But I feel like would it be easy to get people to do that in that way? Absolutely, because it's easy to get people to do stuff now that they don't want to do. But is it going to be I just don't think it would, I don't know, I think the people that are gullible to following the hole now are still going to be the same. People just going to be gullible to following the hole. Because it's just, I don't know. I think it's just human nature for people to want to be a part of whatever is going on in a certain thing. Mm-hmm. But then you always got the people that's going to be precautiously on the outside looking in, like, wait a minute, should I first? So, I don't know.
I think
it's a danger. I think it's a danger, but
yeah,
people walking around talking to people right now is a danger. As long as we have these Donald Trump.
You know what's funny is that Trump is saying he's against Antifa, Antifa is anti-fascism. Fascism and communism is against individualism, and that's what America is supposed to be about. So it's like you're against the individual, yet like if it's not for Trump is not for it, and people haven't figured that out yet.
And Trump is saying follow me the way
But see-
that a fascist would do.
That group of people, those type of people that were so easily fallen, they heard one thing, they didn't even listen to everything else that's going on because he fed them what they wanted to hear here. You know,
So they didn't have to think. They just went along.
they not thinking.
It's like the preacher follow the flock.
Yeah.
Because it takes work to think, maybe.
And for that, the same thing inside of the churches and stuff like that. The same thing. It's some people that's just following along. They said do this, so they're doing it. They said do this, and it's not even to blame them because that's just the way, it's almost like that's the way you were raised. Like you do what you're told to do, and this is what we were told to do, so this is what we're doing. And until they see anything other than that, they don't have any reason to not move on to that because that's the.
They are protected within their community, whatever that is, and they feel safe.
And that's why I think it'll always be people that you can manipulate into a certain realm because of the isolation.
That's interesting because when we talk about people being manipulated because they don't want to do the work to think, there is a set of papers. It's not really a book. During World War II, there was a Lutheran cleric named, I believe it was Dietrich von Hefner. I have to look it up. But he had written a theory on the theory of stupid people. Now, let me follow along with it because when he said stupid people, he wasn't saying that people can't learn things, but stupid people for him were people who didn't want to bother to think. They wanted to tell some people tell them how to think. And that the reason why Hitler was getting away with what he was getting away with is because the stupid people were willing to listen to his solution because they felt his solution was going to save them. And that Hitler wasn't so much the danger. Because Hitler, theoretically, never killed anybody.
Like Charles Manson.
Right, again, Charles Manson never killed anybody. His followers did all that dirty work. And the same thing with Hitler. And so again, if you're in a relationship, how much effort are you going to put in to think versus just to listen? All right. Again, when we talk about the AI, if somebody knows how to manipulate this, well, this individual, man or woman, seems lonely and they don't want to take the time to go outside of their home and meet and interact with people and use their social skills. I'll get it all here. And then the AI winds up controlling them. Because AI appears to have all the solution in their relationship.
And when I like how you made sure you said that it was because these are people that's choosing. You got other people that are just like that, and you got people that choose to not want to do anything. But that's funny because when you said that, just somebody jumped in my head. But because it's somebody I get so frustrated with, and because I'm used to dealing with people. Y'all know my sister. I'm used to dealing with people who they know whether they're going left or right. They know what they're doing. And it's other people that when you're dealing with them, they're constantly asking you, "What do you want me to sit this down here? Do you want me to put this over here?" And these are people that I don't realize in my life, like, oh, that person can be manipulated very easy because they're constantly trying to. It's almost like they're trying to please you. It's weird, but it's because they can't. It's like they can't decide to go left or right without you telling them. They can, but they're just you might.
So they're looking to help you by you giving them the direction of what that is. So, and it's some people like that. Like, hey, my goal is to help you, and then they're not able to help themselves.
I mean, they're helpful in a way because they're constantly trying to do things or whatever, but they're still being led. No matter what, they're still being there because they're still constantly asking, well, what do you want me to do with this? Where do you want me to put this? Where do you want this to go? What do you know? Instead of like when y'all were just moving the room around, if you see everything going in the room going that way, put everything in the room that way. But if somebody that'll come in and they're like, well, they'll stand right here with the chair, like, what do you want me to do with it? It's just like, put it where you see everybody putting on the rest of the chairs. Those are the people that I think are easily going to be led because no matter what, I don't think they were built with the skills to think on their own, so to speak. They go off what everybody else doing. Those are not. You got the people that's moving the crowd, and you got the people that's just moving with the crowd. And the people that's moving with the crowd are always going to be just moving with the crowd.
And it's so often, just like in a car, the driver who gets in the crash usually survives, and the passengers are the ones. The people led are the ones that get more serious injuries in most instances.
You like to say that.
And that's always, it's like a roller coaster though. If you think about it, when you're in the back of the roller coaster, you feel it more than the people who are up front.
Yeah, that's what.
So that's
said if you want.
it's science and life, right? So you're following and you get more of it. So when you're at the back end, the poorest person always feels the recession more than the richest person. It's life's roller coaster.
Science of life.
And then when you in the back, you're usually trusting. You way more trusting if you in the back.
Or you don't feel like you have a choice.
Or that. But you're usually just moving along with what you're moving along. The person in the front, that's the person who don't trust nobody. They watching, they figuring out where to go. They decide, they making the most decisions because they're not trusting what anybody else is trying to tell them. So that person is always going to be watching and paying attention to the process of what's going on. They the leader. They the ones that's, I know. And they also may know the fear factor that's above, where they may not tell everybody else because, you know what I'm saying,
because they don't want to panic. I don't want you shaking up this thing and then get us off the rails for everybody panicking. So just go along with the ride so we don't go off the rails.
And the people in the back are just,
So then,
everybody in front of me seems okay, so I'm just going to follow what they're doing. I'm trusting what I see in front of me because it seems trustworthy, so I'm just going to keep following.
so
Yeah,
then,
nobody turn off until the people in the front fall off the cliff. That's when you're like, oh, maybe we should go this way.
Too late. Because the momentum pushes you over anyway, and then it might be too late.
versus, all right, so then we're getting back to the internet part of it then. Is there one person on the internet side that is the one that's watching and paying attention? And then the other person on the other internet side is just like, I would just go with the flow. And then
So-
the one gets to manipulate versus can the other one just follow?
Well, anybody who created the social platform is the person that's leading. And any person who logs into the social platform is the person leading.
Yeah.
How deep is that?
All these theories that we're putting out here are our theories. They will be copyrighted tomorrow. If you are using these theories or develop any hardware or software as of such, you're not doing it for nefarious purposes, you want to get paid.
Because once again, how you have the rich get richer, or the rich knows, okay, this is how I got mine, this is how I keep mine. Keep people going in this direction, and so they don't interact with mine. So why do you think they have racism, sexism, and platforms online to expose and make it? Because the rich are at the end right here, and the people are fighting, and they never get to the end to see the big picture because there's too many infighting. They have sexism, racism, homophobia, all these different things to keep people distracted from, hey, he got all the money. There's only 1% of the money, and it's all right there. And G7, right there on the island, nobody's going to the island because you all fighting on the mainland. And all the money's over there on the island. All you have to do is get your boat and overtake them. But
So at some point, you got to get off the internet in relationship and go see this person. Hopefully, it's not an AI. And go see this person for real to get together in an interaction. And then you have I guess for lack of a better word, an actual real relationship.
I would think so.
To me, you would have to.
Because, for how long is that online going to satisfy you? The pandemic has shown you, hey, Zoom is not your friend. It's just a temporary thing.
So, and I'm going to just keep it real. At some point, there is a physical desire to be with each other.
Right.
Because if you're online, you might have connected emotionally and psychologically. Then to me, it's just the natural follow step that you want to be physically with this person.
How many?
Get that physical touching, but although they are trying it now.
But how many kids have had problems because they couldn't have that physical interaction during this pandemic time? I mean, that emotional and social awkwardness is exasperated, it's gotten worse because they didn't have that time interacting with their friends, interacting with people, having that one-on-one, having that group activity in person.
I'm going to add another thing into the mix. There's a thing called incest, involuntarily celibate. So these are the men that feel like, for whatever reason, women don't connect with them or whatever. These are the guys who might say, well, I want the online relationship because now I can seem to control and manipulate who I interact with, who I swipe left or swipe right with, because they can't do it out there, quote unquote, in the real world.
Well, how many times now are young men, instead of asking a woman out in person, be like texting them, or what have you? And it's so different from back in the day. It's like,
You used to have to work on your line, right?
Yeah. Now
you're
you
in
gotta-
high school, you can't just walk up and say, I like you, you like me, would you like to go out to the movies? You come up with some corny line like, baby, call me Allstate, put your hands on me.
But either way, you can't do any of that now.
Good hands with me. I'm like,
That's a violation to the young people now.
yeah, but I'm saying, I never used that kind of line, but I'm just saying.
I'm like, what?
So
But you have to have a social skill of
like these athletes now who don't even have trouble getting women are not physically doing a confrontation and saying, hey, let's go out or let's get together. They're doing online to have that connection instead, and then we'll meet up so-and-so through the online app. They're not even doing that face-to-face.
And then they're not even really discussing, they're just putting up a bunch of emojis to do the asking for them.
Yeah, because so basically that...
Who bites that?
Huh?
Go ahead.
You'd be amazed, right?
So basically the males are now more insulated to rejection and have a greater reaction to rejection when it comes up in person, and they don't know how to deal with it because they hadn't started early on anymore to
learn to deal with it.
Say, do you want to go out with me, yes or no, and don't know how to handle it. When they get older, when they used to be as a teenager, they had that process going forward, and then as an adult, they were able to then.
Well, I think that has some way to do it in the home. People are just less rejected, period, than they were. Women being period, we are just less rejective, period. So nobody's getting rejected anymore until they get to that position. Girls ain't either. So I think that's not a. I mean, it's a social thing, but it's more like now. Back in the day, you said things that now you can't say.
Right.
I think we were just more equipped to deal with it stuff.
More expressive,
yeah, than they are now. Not even so much because of the online thing. Everybody's protected now. You can't say this. You can't say that. You can't. It's stuff that teachers said to us back in the day that they can't say now. They lose their jobs. They be out on the news. You know what I'm saying? Where they say that we didn't even think nothing about it. We just think she crazy.
You can't call kids stupid in the classroom.
Yeah.
Like you could back in the day.
Well, yeah, you might have got away with it. You might have crushed that kid, though.
But you can't do that now.
But you can't. I think there's
And still worse.
Now you can't do it because one kid did get crushed back then because their level of sensitivity was different than some of the other ones. But I do think a majority, but it's even now, some people's level of sensitivity is just different than other people. Some people can take it and other people can't. But it's even more sensitive now because they aren't given
Given the tools. They're taking bullying out of the schools, so you're not even getting that. So when you're getting bullied on a Trump level, you're overwhelmed because you can't even fathom bullying in the first place.
There are a lot of people that were bullied that's our age that will tell you now how they maneuvered. They've been maneuvered through the other things because they maneuvered through that bullying. Where now, I'm not saying anybody should be bullied, but it's such a more protective atmosphere to where they don't have to learn how to get out of it. Somebody's taking them out of it.
So we still have to put something in process to teach them how to deal with it.
Because you're not,
Without the teacher actually doing both.
because they're,
Somebody else.
when we have different issues come up of confrontation, people even more so don't know how to deal with it. And this becomes even more out of control. Your reaction is even more explosive.
That's the way I would say it. Back when, before, kids were put into situations where they had to solve problems. Now we feel like they're kids. They shouldn't have to be dealing with that. When they're dealing with it anyway. We're just on the surface trying to say, oh, they shouldn't have to deal with that. They dealing with it anyway.
Right.
It's just maybe not on an adult type of level, whatever, but adult situations. But kids, where we were always deciding back in it, we had to make decisions on what we were gonna do as far as certain things. Like, well, I ain't gonna say real decisions, but where now it's like, no, the parents are jumping in, and I'm gonna do this for you, and I'm gonna take this for you, and I don't want you to have to do this and stuff like that. Where kids before were pushed into the situation. You need to go out there and figure that out.
Yeah.
You need to go out there. Even their bikes, kids don't even fix their own bikes. The parents coming and fixing the bikes, or they're taking it over here. Or we figured that stuff. I didn't even ask.
Put your chain back on your own bike.
Yeah. I didn't even ask my mom how to figure it out.
Well, at least in my case, somebody
just figured it
taught
out
me how to fix it.
once.
Right.
Well, once or twice, but at least somebody taught me so that I could, from that
Yeah.
point on,
But now you
I could do it myself.
now you had a helicopter parents who were in the interviews on jobs for their kids.
So now, but here's now the trick bag, right? So now we're in the situation. You mean we gotta have our parents help us in an online relationship now?
And it's,
Some parents are just in it anyway.
I mean, parents used to be, hey, I gotta be more intrusive now to protect my kid. No, you're being more intrusive. I was like, there are all kinds of different apps to protect your kid without you being right up in it.
Without you making all the decisions.
Right.
Even if you standing by your kid's side, still allow them to make the decision on their own. Like my kids, I'm feeding them the information on where I want them to be at, but in the end, I'm like, so what do you think? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because they didn't have to go through the thought process of trying to at least figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, in the end, you're gonna let your kid fail. Once they made the bad decision, like that's not good. But but still let them fail sometimes. Like don't nobody want to let their kids fail no more.
And they can learn from the failure.
Yeah, that's how, because that you know not to do it again.
Right.
So what do you learn? How do you learn? What do you learn in an online relationship? How do what's the failure point, and what's the consequences of the failure? Then that you learn, because now here's again we talking about the catfish situation. There are not people always there to protect that child who gets catfished on an online relationship, and unfortunately she's been molested or he's been molested.
And online it takes away from the whole, like, it takes away from the, I want to say the confrontation and dealing with the problem too. Because once you realize it's an issue, just cut it off and you don't deal with it. It's just,
and once that child has gone that level, there are some children who are slick. They think in a relationship, which this molester or this pedophile has gotten them into, and there's no way for that child to get out of it at that time.
you mean online?
Yeah, online.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? So how do we as parents or social workers or what have you teach that child what do you need to look for so that you don't get catfished and don't find yourself in that situation you can't get out of because you started out in an online relationship?
Well, we're going to answer that question when we come back right after this on Barry's Poetic Session, the Relationship Show.
Hi, I'm Ovi Mitchell, a.k.a. Brother Black, and you are watching Barry's Poetic Session.
And welcome back to Barry's Poetic Session, the Relationship Show. And with online catfish, and how will we deal with it for the kids? So, Brother Black.
Yeah, well, again, I think if you know that your child is having an online relationship, then I think you should, like Cami said, let me talk to you about some guidelines, and then let that child make that decision. But guidelines are, it's interesting, sweetie. You actually seen this person. Maybe you might want to do a live Zoom so you can see what this person looks like. Is this person actually your age group versus, Pee Wee Herman trying to talk to you?
Why is Cyrano de Bergerac still relevant today? He's with catfish.
It is what it is. But, maybe some other things,
So this dude, he had all this poetic license and stuff and loved the person, but he couldn't do it face to face because he didn't look like that. So he had to have somebody step in.
Long nose, right?
Yeah.
And in the end, the wound up falling in love, and then wound up falling in love with him after all, because you realize it was the words that she fell in love with. But that's a whole other subject. I'm just saying, honey, why are they having you meet at this particular time, at this particular place? Since you're in this age group, asking, can he come over here so that we can all, meet?
You can't come here, but you can come right here.
See what I'm saying? So, maybe, that might be evidence of that. And then the child might say, well, you know what? I don't want you to come over here, but I would love to see, do a face-to-face time Zoom. No, don't send me a picture because I don't know what I'm going to get, but I get a live Zoom. And hopefully it's not that AI image talking to your child, kidnapping your child, and now you got to pay $1 million to get your child back. That's a whole nother tangent. But I think, that's something that we have to prepare our children for.
Because those Snapchat features, they're different animals and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden the politicians got a whole we don't want no animals in the classroom.
That'd be a question,
there are no animals in the classroom. Making stuff up.
How come every time we get online, your face is, filtered to look like a lioness? But it's every time. Well, here, I'll change it. And then it's a tigress. Can I get your real face?
Well, I think in the kids, my children they'll be doing way more things online before I would even be able to catch up to find out what they're doing. They'll be fully in a relationship before I would even know about it. But I think as a parent, we should be talking to our children as we raising them. Period.
Yeah, before they even get online, these are the things you need to do and be on the lookout for. I was talking to my son and he was like, Daddy, I know this stuff. Right? So it's he's 10 and already knows the stuff, right? And he's having online fights. And it's should I be concerned? And then he's like, well, I need somebody to fight with and I can't, do it. So I'm doing an online fight.
They talk about computer games, folks.
Oh.
like WWF.
See, I'm so behind.
Yeah, you get on that, you got your PlayStation 5 or whatever, and it's on the internet, and now all your friends can hook up. You have player 1, player 2, player 3, but instead of being player 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the house, player 1 is at his computer at his house, player 2, but they're all on that computer game.
If that's the case, then it's definitely online relationships where people don't. My son definitely has online relationships where he never met people in.
Because it's all those
I know they
Call of Duty.
When he don't have one, they talking. You can hear him
Yeah.
And I didn't came in. This it's been years ago, so I know it's got to be way more advanced now. Because I done busted in the room what's going on? I'm thinking they in there getting down and they on the game. So I'm like, oh, okay.
The kind of game they playing that you gotta think they get down.
Call of Duty.
Only Call of Duty. I think it was that. But
wow.
Or Halo or.
You can hear the gunshot and everything, but
wow.
You can hear the voices so clear. I thought they were in the room. I didn't know they were in the game. Mm-hmm. And I get in there and it's just him, but I hear the other voices talking, and I'm just like, and you hear them no, don't do that, go down there. They telling each other where to go, so it sounds like they in the room, and so but. Apparently they can't see each other. Now again, I don't play the game. I don't know it, but from what I'm seeing, my son, but he talks to people in other countries.
Yeah.
On this game to where they know to get on this game at a certain time. I don't think they've even seen each other.
Yeah, they make a plan.
But they know. But they also know stuff about each other.
Yeah.
They know this guy has a little brother. His little sister be coming in the room messing with him. I done heard him tell me stuff, and I'm like, where? He's like, oh, he in Turkey somewhere. Turkey? What? you know somebody attorney? Like, I'm impressed, but then I'm like, but you don't really know anybody attorney. So, but it's like, so, okay, now I'm like, now I had to go revet it because I'm like, I didn't think that was possible. But now that I think about it, okay, so there are total relationships that never going to see each other.
And it's more advanced because now they can have the little picture, live video of the person over here in the little corner that they're playing with, so now they can see each other.
And they actually don't have any, they have no desire to see each other. Their desire is this guy, is he going to go left when I tell him to go left? He can't see he's not paying attention. That's their
concern.
They don't want the dumb guy in the game. That's
Right. That's and
they don't
a couple years ago was the noob. That's the new person that acting like the person they don't know what they're doing. Noob. They call them noobs.
And I don't even think some of them age does not a matter. It's not a factor.
No.
Some people are older. Some people are very young.
Right. Like the dude's like, I don't discriminate. I beat up on the adults and the kids. That's you. That's not me. That's you. That was
That's you
dude
beating up on
online.
Charlie. That's you beating up on Charlie.
That's me with my sons, but I'm not.
Take it like a man, Charlie.
And you know, but he will talk some stuff to you. He don't care how old you are, and he's 10.
Yeah. I've been the victim of Charlie's
And then how would you even know?
superior thumb techniques on the games, you know. So
How would you know if I'm playing and I wouldn't even know he was 10. He probably could tell, because again, they can hear each other, so they do talk private.
they do.
I wouldn't know it was a 10-year-old.
And my 10 and 5-year-old are playing in a group with other people, and I turned the chat and the messaging off on my son's stuff so that they're not having that interaction with my 5-year-old, but my 10-year-old can interact with them.
But now, believe it or not, there are pedophiles who can groom the children on a simple game.
Right.
Because you, the parent, you can't hear what's on the headphone or whatever. You're in the other room.
Right. And they have their earphones.
And you're just like, oh, well, he's just playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
And at first they're talking about the game, and then
there's
like now instead of playing that, they're playing Grand Theft, and it's like, well, it's all right to call a whole run, and then do this, that, and the other. The next thing you know,
or you start hearing.
well, then they say, but don't tell your mom or your dad about this, and they're grooming them through the game.
Right.
And then
you don't have access when you don't have when you have the chat on, but you don't monitor it.
And I'm like, I don't, not only do I not monitor it, I would prefer to keep the headphones on so I don't have to hear it.
Right.
But
you don't even want to.
But if you've been talking to your children about situations like
And I
that,
have had my son come and say, this is weird down there. And he has actually said, I never even thought about it, but he has said there was some guy on there one time that was like weird. He was like, he's way too old to be on here. And I remember him saying, but somehow they was able to block him or click. Somehow they were able to keep him off. I don't know.
but the beauty of it is he felt comfortable to talk to you about that.
Right.
There's some kids who don't have parents that are that aware and have that conversation.
And they had, there was another game, Among Us, the same type of thing, and they have like private, so they wouldn't have to be interacting with everybody out there, just their friends. They can have just
I
friends
think-
only.
And they can do that, can't they? Because
Yeah.
I've heard him say that, like, no, it's just going to be us. I've heard him where
Where they have a closed network. So you can have real online relationships, but they're not going to take the place of the real life social aspect and interaction with people. But, with the pandemic, it's even more so our young people are getting back to having real interactions with people. And I think that's some progress as AI starts to try to manipulate people's emotions. And that's, in the next 5 years, going to be real. And the people who laughed at that Batman where the Riddler was zapping into people's heads. It's getting closer and closer to reality.
That was Mad Hatter on Batman.
Was that the Mad Hatter? I'm talking the movie?
Yeah, the Mad Hatter had a device in the hat. Mm-hmm. Now that's funny because also the Westworld, the newer version, they had a version of that where the hat was recording your thoughts and your emotions and everything, and then they were making a copy of you out to put out to the real world. But that's a whole nother story.
And they're working on that, and they're just trying to get. What was that? That one where Johnny Depp was dying and put himself in the computer, so that then.
Well, you also got people who live with those dolls. Those doll people? Oh, you know,
They've got those
what do they call them? Yeah.
Sex dolls, and like was better.
Well, yeah. They are. Well, I think they start off as sex dolls.
But there are also some AI dolls.
But now they're just,
interactive.
like it's people getting married to them. Like
Right, there is.
the where I seen it mostly is in the Asian culture. Over there where they
There's some
they
here.
put a limit on it. There's definitely some, but I know apparently it's more common and accepted there because of the stipulation back in the day where you couldn't have too many kids. If you had one, it had to be you could have 2 boys but not 2 girls or something.
Right.
Yeah,
No, you could only have one kid in China. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they were sending the girls up for adoptions because the men wanted only a male.
Or something like that. Yeah. So basically they got a lot of men and no women. So the men are just buying these dolls to companion with.
Or they're doing like more mail order brides and all that other stuff to
Yeah.
compensate.
Yeah, but it's
Like
not,
I was saying with
it's
the
not
AI
limited
thing.
to China though. It is.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm just saying this is where
Yeah.
I seen it was, I don't think it was in China, it was Asian. So I'm not gonna say China. I know they were Asians, but they were so I was saying I could see where they trying to because these dolls they're trying to get them to interact with them like their wives and stuff and get to know them and so
What do you get the no? I mean, it's like it's a robot.
AI got it.
well, yeah,
AI
but that's they level of loneliness. It's not enough.
It's a
So these guys,
involuntary something.
they don't have a girlfriend. And in my mind, like, it should be enough women that you at least just got a girl. But apparently, it's not enough females that they. And they, to me, it's because I'm like, who else are they interacting with? They're going home to this doll. They're also not having friends come over. They're not going out with this person to a. So these are people who are going to work and coming home and going to work and coming home. So I'm assuming they're not interacting with.
And so they're just coming
And they're
home
not
to
having
the
a lot of
doll.
human contact anyway.
I don't know.
So like you said, that it's an involuntary celibate relationship. So they come home to the doll instead of a real person.
And I could see where they would be trying to put a personality inside of this person for them to interact with. So,
Program by artificial intelligence inside the doll.
yeah.
I'm a jealous robot coming at you. That's crazy.
Well, then I would go back to the what you were talking about in the beginning. So if it was the female was programmed to like him, I guess he better come home that day. It ain't nothing to have a robot at your door at work. Just,
So where you been?
hi, honey. No.
So where have you been? I've had dinner waiting for you.
I know where you have been. I have tracked you.
All right. Here's your lunch.
I was trying
You
to.
better eat.
I was trying to turn my car to go to this other place, and my AI wife got a hold of
Who
the
was that woman? you were talking
Bluetooth and turned the car back around, and I didn't really drive. She drove me home.
Like, who's that woman you talk to? Who's the Pawn Star?
Who was that woman next
They
to
don't do that no more.
Who was the woman next to the gas tank? The other lady pumping gas. She was way too close.
You didn't have to worry about her again. Why? You look on the news, the gas station where she was working at.
Alarm started going off every time you walk away. You wonder where this alarm going off. She's too close. Please step back. I can smell your perfume.
You know how the cars are too close and you hear that noise?
Yeah.
Now they're
You
doing it
get
for
close. Doop, doop.
But you don't even know what's on you.
You are great.
You taking somebody's phone ringing. You like your phone?
No, honey, it's your phone. I'm here to tell you you're too close to him.
It's not him, it's you.
Oh man. Well,
Wow. Okay.
I can sense your feeling to need to look at her. Don't do that.
There's a rise in your temperature and your blood flow. Please step back 6 feet.
okay. Oh my goodness.
Well, they got the little thing you stick on you now, right? They make your heartbeat raise and it's good. So I guess that's right around the corner.
Sit right around the corner. It's here.
Take that into higher consideration.
Once again, that's another device that we have come up, copyrighted.
Leave me.
Use it, we want to get paid.
You will not leave me.
All right. And what do you think about online relationships? Put it in the comments. And we want to thank Brother Black, Cami, and I'm your host, Barry, a.k.a. The Dark Knight. And we will see you next time on Barry's Poetic Session Relationship Show.